Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem, Rokach Kodash. I want to give double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. And salutations and much love to the rest of you sincere Aki and pushing the word in truth and sincerity. This is the cleric Azar coming at you with another lesson. I am continuing in my lot to bring you my ongoing series from Excerpts of Hollywood, This Factory of Perverseness. An observation of predictive programming, how art imitates life and vice versa. Just a reminder, the purpose of my videos is to show correlations. Correlation is an observation of a mutual relationship or connection between two or more things. I use movie films to extract or extrapolate a narrative. I'm not glorifying the Hollywood culture or life. I have a wide knowledge of films, whether they be foreign or domestic, and I just use them as an example to bring out similarities in those correlations. To quote Cecil B. DeMille, the greatest source of material for motion pictures is the Bible. I want to say this is one of my first videos I've done based on a new release. Okay, I call this lesson "The Ending of the Batman is the Ending of the USA." The image I have on display is the theatrical poster from the film The Batman, released yesterday, March 4th, 2022, directed by Matt Reeves. Okay. Now, just give you a quick synopsis. Let me also give a quick spoiler alert as well, because I'm gonna skip right to the end. I was basically this whole week I had to do a lot of Batman themed videos, and I wasn't even dealing with the Riddler or the Penguin or Catwoman. I was dealing with the Mad Hatter from the Batman animated series. But this one goes a little in a different direction, and I want to say the director or the writers of this, Matt Reeves and Peter Craig, they must have couldn't think of a good ending for this particular film, and they went straight to the Hebrew Israelite videos, and they brought it out. Well, anyway, once again, spoiler alert. At the end of this film, after the villains were doing all their things they needed to do and all the things that basically a villain does to make the hero want to stop them, there was a flood. Basically, there were bombs set up on these, what are they called? They're called breakwaters. And they were set up, these breakwaters were surrounded the city and around Gotham, and so once the bombs went off and destroyed these breakwaters, the flood came in. Okay, now of course it's a little symbolic, but this is what happened. Shortly after that, martial law was declared. Okay, and the National Guard had to be called in. And I got to rewatch this film just to give you a heads up too. If you do plan on watching this film, it's 2 hours and 56 minutes long. Okay, so make sure you set out some time to check it out. And you also got to be kind of familiar with the source material, because I know some people, when they watch this, they're probably going to say, well, I'm not used to, the Riddler looking like that. Why was the Riddler looking like that? Well, you got to get yourself familiar with the graphic novel Batman Hush, was later adapted to a animated film, as well as Batman The Long Halloween, started off as a graphic novel and later on adapted to a animated film. You may even want to check out Batman Year One, written by Frank Miller, and most of the latter Batman films for the last at least 15 years has borrowed elements from The Dark Knight Returns, The Long Halloween, Batman Year One. Most of the stuff, it has Frank Miller's name attached to it. Most likely they're going to take something from there for their films. But basically, made me think about some scriptures here that I'm about to bring out here. Starting off with Isaiah chapter 59, verse 19. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. Here's a point here. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. Now, starting with our elder apostles, a Great Millstone on down, it's mainly talking about the elect obtaining spiritual powers towards the end in the last days, specifically most likely towards when martial law is declared, when that enemy does come in like a flood. All right. But in this particular instance, in this film, the flood came in like real water, and a lot of the areas of the city were flooded, and some of the different areas of the city were not accessible. So they basically had to set up shelter in the arena, just like they did in Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans back there. What was that, 2005, 2006? But it was a striking similarity, okay? And of course, sometimes when they get into these realistic films, I like to take little parts from real life history to make it a little bit more compelling, okay? But just like in this film, and even in the Batman universe, Gotham City is a big cesspool, and so you had different criminals and along with the villains just preying on each other, robbing, stealing, and killing each other. And this is one of the most interesting Gotham cities they've ever put on screen, I should say. I remember Tim Burton, who was the original director for Batman '89, as well as Batman Returns. He was saying how Gotham City is like a character in itself, and the set itself has to be able to tell a story as well. The dilapidation and things of that sort. You could go into a city and shoot, but you gotta kind of dress it up a little bit, okay? And after watching the credits as they were rolling, I saw that parts of the fictional Gotham City was filmed in London, England, as well as Chicago. Okay, if you brothers up there in Chicago, or if you ever visited Chicago, I've only been into the airport myself. I think I plan on going to Chicago later on this year. But they definitely wanted to pick a city that was going through something. And if you're familiar with, you've been under a rock for the last maybe 15 years, Chicago's been going through a whole lot. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the brothers in Chicago probably saw some of these scenes that are being shot. But anyway, back to the spirit here. Once martial law was declared in this film, I believe the National Guard was called in. I could be wrong. Like I said, this is a long film. I got to go back and rewatch it. And I was on the edge of my seat. But it made me think about 2nd Esdras chapter 15, starting at the 16th verse. 2nd Esdras 15, verse 16, and it reads, "For there shall be sedition among men, and evading one another." Okay, just like I said, this is Gotham City. Robbing, stealing, and killing. Reading on, "They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." All right, now, when it talks about they shall not regard their kings or princes, just like in the fictional city of Gotham City, these people weren't thinking about the police, the mayor, DA, etc. I mean, most of the authorities are just really corrupt. And just like in this Babylon the Great, from our politicians, senators, governors, so forth, judges, a lot of it's a corrupt system, okay? And even the people that get over on it, they kind of know. And it's going to be those same kind of people that are going to be invading one another and breaking into each other's houses and so forth. And I'm sure that was happening even during Hurricane Katrina. That's probably why they're setting up this next sequel to show, if we even make it for them to film it. But they're definitely setting it up for that. Okay. Verse 17. "A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able." And that's what happened. The certain parts of the city were inaccessible to the other parts that people were desiring to go into. Okay. So it's quite interesting. I didn't expect that ending to happen the way it did. And you kind of almost saw it in Dark Knight Rises with the bridges and so forth. If you remember Dark Knight Rises, and there's just parts of the scenes were shot in, I want to say Pittsburgh, New York, and some other different cities I can't recall. But the bridges were threatened to be detonated. Okay, so that certain people couldn't access certain areas of the city. All right, just like 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 17. Okay. But I'm just going to end it on this. That's what this is coming to pretty soon. When all hell breaks loose during Jacob's trouble, martial law is declared, you're going to see things like this. Not necessarily a flood, but a symbolic sense. about the enemy coming in like a flood, like with these soldiers and military troops and so forth, whether it be military troops of this government or Russia's military. You know, you can see something like that happen very soon. But I always like to end my videos on a good note with some type of silver lining, and there is light at the end of the tunnel. So in other words, there is a happy ending, and this is going to bring us closer to the kingdom. But of course, the mark of the beast has to be established, which is the RFID microchip, that Karagma. Okay. But hey, you brothers got to check out this film. I can't wait to talk to some more other brothers in different camps there. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of different videos coming out about it. And I'm sure they've seen some things that I didn't see. But that ending, that flood and martial law, I was like, oh man, it's like, I wonder where they got that from. Okay, well, I just want to share that. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, who gives me the strength and the spirit to continue to strive and endure in these last days. Shalom to the hopeful elect, and on to the next video.